Hey, good Monday, everybody. Hello, welcome in Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And, Barry, I know there was a lot of Bud Light consumed over the weekend. What a great college football weekend we witnessed.
Doesn't it feel like I guess it was week 11 last week, John, didn't it feel like kind of the first weekend of the playoff? There were some playoff games.
Yeah.
There were some teams that stayed alive in the playoff. There were some teams who have now exited the playoff. Down in Baton Rouge comes to mind. And maybe in Athens, Georgia. It was a great weekend for sure. My voice is about 100%. John and I have worked together for 27 years or so, and about every 3 years I have when my voice just goes. So I had a lot to say on Friday, and everything that I was going to say, everything that I was going to predict was right.
Sure.
Oh, I hated that I missed I was going to tell everybody that Ole Miss was going to beat the brakes off of Georgia. I was going to tell Bama fans, don't worry about it. They'll figure out the offense, John. Some GA or some analyst walked into the Alabama offensive staff room and said, hey, guys, bear with me here. How about we just snap it to 4 and get out of his way? Huh? I was going to tell you all that.
Oh. I get it. Sure, I understand completely. Don't doubt that for a minute. And I got to tell you, Barry, I've been down on Jalen Milroe. I thought he started the season out great. Had a great game in the first half against Georgia. And prior to that, everything was rolling. You could see some changes. Then it kind of, hit the skids there for about a 4-game stretch. I do think there was probably some health or injury issues that he was dealing with, but certainly you didn't get the sense that that was a problem Saturday night in Baton Rouge. You looked like the old Jalen Milroe, and you're right. I mean, how embarrassing is it for Brian Kelly and the LSU staff? I mean, this guy's the best player on the field, but to let him duplicate basically what he did last year in scoring 4 touchdowns, I mean, did they not get a new defensive coordinator and a new defensive staff to stop stuff like that?
Well, the good news, I guess, for LSU fans is hardly any of you were in the stadium by the start of the fourth quarter to have to watch the wrap-up of that thing. Now, full disclosure, I was in New Orleans for the weekend with Troy basketball, who had another double-digit win on Saturday afternoon. So we watched on the bus a little bit of it coming back, but by the time we got on the bus, I mean, you could have shot a cannon off inside stadium and there wasn't nobody there. You didn't even have to show the scoreboard bug at the bottom. When it flashed the stadium, we all were like, oh.
Alabama's last touchdown, forgot who scored it now.
It was Richard Young.
Yeah, Richard Young. Certainly was, right. And you could see the stands in the background as he crossed the goal line. And I'm thinking, whoa, man. Oh, there are a lot of empty seats here in Tiger Stadium. Barry, when you start drinking when the sun comes up and you're getting all excited and geeked up, by the time, 9:30 rolls around, 10 o'clock, and your team's getting beat as bad as they are, you start crying. That alcohol can affect your emotions.
You
go from anger and frustration to just downright, sadness and crying. I mean, I will tell you, Barry, I was hoping the police didn't come down my street Saturday night because I was in my car. Car was running. I didn't want them to think that I had a garden hose coming out of the exhaust pipe or something. I was in there enjoying the LSU postgame radio show. It was classic. It was
potential stalker. Can we just do a drive-by and check? No, officer, and the officer comes by, asks John to roll down his window. He says, ooh, let me listen. Yeah,
I kind of thought this is what you'd be doing. I heard you do this quite a bit during football season. Well, I got to tell you, I got to tell you, I was a little surprised, and we've got the next 2 hours to let you know why I was a little surprised.
Well, before we go any further, big shout out to my favorite veteran, the late great Bob McKnight, who was a Army veteran back in the 50s. My dad's no longer with us, but we always used to celebrate Veterans Day. He was very proud of his military service. A lot of people were asking whether we would have a show today, and of course we will and everything. We got a lot to talk about. We are used to having to work on during holidays and stuff like that, but it's also a day to kind of to get everybody in. I know a lot of our people on our River Region Straw chat line are all already, wishing each other, all the veterans out there, Kurt,
Yes.
Ty, and some of those guys out there. Happy Veterans Day. Joe Adams, just a little bit after 7:00, put something up. Happy Veterans Day. A sincere thank you to all who have served our country and protected our freedom. You are real heroes. John, can you imagine without our veterans, you and I probably wouldn't be able to enjoy the free speech that we have and the freedoms to be able to say dumb things and all of that. So we are appreciative for sure.
Well, goes without saying. You're exactly right. Just happy Veterans Day. Thank you so much to all of our men and women in uniform and armed forces that keep us free. We greatly appreciate it. And let someone know that today. It's Veterans Day, and it certainly is something that we need to appreciate and let people know how much we appreciate it.
I've got a lot saved up. Again, I wasn't able to be on the show, like vocally able to. I couldn't speak. And there were so many things that I would have gotten right. I would have told you, hey, look, Alabama, don't worry about it. I'm feeling 28-29 point win. Georgia, you're going to go down. Things are just setting up right. I was going to let you know, hey, look. There's going to be a fight on the Auburn basketball plane on the way to Houston, but don't worry about that. Auburn's going to beat Houston at Houston. We did watch that on the Troy basketball team bus on the way back. So very impressed with Auburn and their 74-69 win over Houston. A couple of guys, they were fighting over seat assignments. Maybe one of them said, hey, you got my peanuts. I wanted those peanuts. I wanted the Cajun peanuts, and you took them. Those were mine. Something like that. But it ended up not, they ended up flying back to Auburn, kicking those two guys off the plane, turning around, flying back out to Houston, winning the game. Yeah. That's all. I would have told you guys.
I think Philip said it was roughhousing or boys will be boys.
Shenanigans,
getting into that a little bit later on. I think that might even be a topic on the Dreamland 777 topic wheel today. Go figure. But the basketball game, I did actually check in on a little of that. I wanted to see what I've been hearing, and I certainly was able to confirm that Auburn is a really good basketball team. They are really good. They're going to be a tough out for anybody. They certainly have championship run written all over them. Hard to believe that both Auburn and Alabama are being talked about the same way about championship basketball, but only one's going to win it, and maybe it'll be one of those two. But I was impressed with what Auburn was able to do. Heading out to Houston, Houston's going to quit playing teams in the state of Alabama. I mean, I don't know why they think they play teams from our state, but they have not had a lot of luck. Alabama's played Houston a couple over the years.
Hopefully,
off the road, pretty impressive.
Hopefully, it will continue because in about 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, the Troy Trojans play the University of Houston. I'll be down there to watch that one as well a little bit later on there. The biggest surprise of the weekend, was it Georgia Ole Miss?
If you want to go ahead and reveal the Phantoms picks, I can answer that for you real quick.
Oh, I missed the Phantom.
Maybe we'll hold off on that as well.
Was it?
No, I was not. I was not surprised. Now, Barry, I got to tell you this. When the game started and Jackson Dart threw a pick and then he's limping off the field, I'm thinking, this ain't looking good.
If I had been privy to the Phantoms picks on Friday, I would have given John our fabled little inside, but normally we reserve that for the games between Auburn and Alabama over there.
Yeah, I mean, if Lamo jumps out to a 10-point lead Saturday morning, you might get one of those, but
so this week,
last week,
again, Auburn was off. They are playing Louisiana Monroe Saturday morning, 11:45. You watch. Those fans, I mean, the place may not be totally slam full, but with $7 tickets in the upper corners,
$7.
Maybe some of them $9. It's going to be, they may drop during the week, but that place will be full. Alabama, now they play Mercer. on Saturday.
Yeah,
Mercer is a fine, small private institution in Macon, Georgia, the Mercer Bears. And
I could not think where they were from.
They're actually pretty good. 1 o'clock. Now, Bama fans, we had to go through this last year. It's on ESPN Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Get your granddaughters or something to get it on the TV. But I'm expecting a big crowd. Big win.
What?
Alabama is still alive in the playoff race.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, looking pretty good in the playoff race. They're 7-2, 3 games left. Deserve your support. May have figured some things out on offense. The defense still playing really, really good. Needs to be full for Mercer. I said it.
I hate to disappoint you early in the week, but that isn't going to be the case. Not even close.
I've got more faith in Bama fan.
1 o'clock kick, crappy Mercer team. Why are you wasting my time? Yeah, forget it. Not going to happen. And no. And I hate it. You're right. Should be a packed house, but not going to be. And you're coming off the hangover, winning on the road, getting ready for Oklahoma the next week. I saw an early line on that game. Alabama not getting a lot of respect on the road in Norman in 2 weeks.
Really?
And then Auburn after that. So, yeah, they're gearing up for that stretch run. And I'll say this, Barry, Alabama certainly back in the playoff hunt. Everybody's talking about it. All the national writers, the Tide's back in. Here's some projections of where Alabama could be playing. It doesn't look like there's a chance they can move up far enough to host a playoff game. You never know, but it doesn't look that way at the moment.
It doesn't. Yeah, I agree.
But some of the possible sites they may land, one of them, South Bend, Indiana. Go figure. Huh?
Ooh, let me look.
That would be an interesting game. Some of the others didn't really thrill me. I mean, I know you might have to, but playing a team from your own conference in a playoff game, particularly early, going to Knoxville. We told you
that kind of thing would happen.
Let me throw this, though, at you, Barry.
I like this one. Let me marinate in this one for a moment. Notre Dame beat Florida State to death. Florida State starting to fire coordinators and assistant coaches. Notre Dame, playing in South Bend, beat Florida State by 7 touchdowns. Florida State is now 1-9, but Notre Dame 8-1. If they hadn't had that brain flatulation against Northern Illinois, they're never gonna get a first round bye because they're an independent. Never gonna get there. But if they host Alabama, I don't want to see all of you namby-pamby Bama fans who are saving up your money by not going to Mercer this week, all flocking to O'Hare.
Oh, yeah.
And making the quick drive over to South Bend.
Yeah.
And then coming back. Come on. If you're in, you're in. If you're half-baked, just go ahead and say so.
I'd rather be half-baked than have to sit there and watch Mercer play Alabama on Saturday afternoon. So, yeah, they're going to be there. If they go to South Bend, you can count on it now.
Yeah, okay.
I'd love to wiggle my way up there as well. But how about this scenario, Barry? I thought this was interesting. If Alabama does win the next 3, they win out the regular season, and somehow, some way, A&M loses again, or Georgia, whomever, and Alabama's in a position to go to the SEC championship game and loses and has 3 losses and doesn't make the playoff, why would you even consider wanting to go to Atlanta? We just want to get through the regular season. We want to win out. We want to be 10-2, and we want to head to the playoff college football playoff. We do not want to go to Atlanta. Oh, yeah, we want to go. We want to win. We want to be the SEC champs. But if you lose it and you're 10-3,
a 3-loss team,
are you still in the playoffs?
See, Bama fan John is playing chess while a lot of you are playing checkers here. See, what you want to do is maybe lose at no, I guess you want to you can't lose. You can't really afford to lose anymore. You got to win out, but you also want somebody else in your division to win out. You want to lose. Well, I say division. There are no divisions. You want somebody to finish, two people to finish ahead of you.
Yeah.
That way they can go, they can get the brains, they win or lose, you're going to have to, expend a ton of energy. What you want in this scenario, and I don't disagree with John at all, what you want in this scenario is win enough to get into the playoff without having to bother with the honor of winning
Babe,
an SEC championship.
That the Packers defense let the Bears score late in the game so the Packers could get the ball back in the hands of Brett Favre. They just let the Bears score. Do it. Boom. We want Favre to get the ball back. They did end up winning the game. It may not be the sporting thing to do, but Bama, you don't need to be in Atlanta. Just saying. You got enough conference championships as it is. You don't need another one.
Next spring at A-Day, when you're out there to get a chance to meet your buddies, and all of your buddies are wearing the 2024 National Championship T-shirt, and you're showing up with the 2024 SEC Championship T-shirt, you're going to feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
If Alabama does win the Natty, and stranger things have happened, they're not going to be a favorite to win it. But if they do, that $45 you spent on that SEC Championship game T-shirt, you'll never win. It'll never see the light of day.
You'll be washing cars with it. So, I just,
good point. I didn't think about that.
It's kind of like the loser of the SEC championship game has to play an extra game, while the winner, you stay at home in week 1 of the college football playoff. The loser's got to play. They got to get that fixed. I don't think that's fair for the participant. He just happens to lose, got to play an extra game. Same scenario with Alabama. If they win out, they don't need to be in Atlanta. They're in the playoff right there. Why roll the dice and get your third loss possibly and going to Atlanta? Joe says I got a loser mentality.
Well, here's why. Joe.
I'm planning 3 moves ahead.
This is a year or so ago when we had this conversation, when we were talking about big-time non-conference games. And John and I would say, you need somebody in there to kind of help give them a rest, to give the other team a leg up, a 1 AA or something like that. And John says, why would you do that? Why would you do that? He said, who thinks that way? Why would Auburn not pursue Notre Dame and instead settle for ULM? That's a loser mentality. Now John's saying, well, why would you want to play for an SEC championship? Why wouldn't you just, if you had the choice, just leapfrog over it?
In theory, I get what you're saying, but how they got this thing lined up, to me, it's not worth it.
It's a flaw.
If I knew no matter what, win or lose, I'm still in the college football playoff. Okay, we're in. Heck yeah, we're all over it. But if you lose, you might not make it. You're in now. But if you lose this game, you might not make it. Oh, we'll pass. We're out. Not going to do it. So, I get it. People say loser mentality, whatever. It's all good. Love the chats coming in on our River Region Straw chat line. Keep them coming. Some great ones. I see you, Dr. B. See you, JR, Kirk, Joe, Terrence. Man, you're coming in strong today. Also, our email, longshore&mcknight@gmail.com. We're going to get to our Dreamland Pick 3. We got a spinoff again today. We'll do that later today. The Phantom will go over what he had happening over the weekend. Tom Luganbill, ESPN college football analyst, will break it all down for us at the top of the next hour. And Barry, I believe when we get back, we're going to start spinning that wheel. Chris the Bammer, is he in today?
He's already said good morning and spin the wheel.
So we'll get to that when we return.
He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. Happy Veterans Day. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car, or maybe a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram? Well, in Prattville, it's always a process that starts with the team of professionals from Stivers CDJR. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it's safe to say that Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But hey, just don't take my word for it. Experience the Stivers difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stivers CDJR, where price spells cars and trucks on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville.
Hi, this is Benji with Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Guys, this is the time to shop. The holidays will be here before you know it. Our cases are slam full, so take advantage and lay away for Christmas now. We have a full repair shop and design shop, so if you dream it, we can make it for her. And if you need any repairs, we have an in-house master jeweler. At Marguerite's, we make it. We really make it. At Marguerite's, we are open 7 days a week. Come see us at the Preparatory Shopping Center, 8163 Vaughn Road, Montgomery, Alabama, right by Chappie's.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. About 22 minutes past the hour on this Monday. Hey, Tobias, I see you, my man, on the chat line. Yep, we're going to get to that in just a minute on when the Phantom reveals his picks. That was a good one. I'm with you there.
Did the Phantom pick Georgia Tech to beat? We got to get through all of this. Holy smokes. Now, Robbie says the winner of the SEC championship game gets a bye and doesn't have to play in the first round of the college football playoff. Getting extra rest is valuable late in the season. Robbie, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it is.
Which would you rather have? A day of rest before the playoff and risk not getting or risk not getting in? See the other side of the thing. JR points that he says that game means nothing but a bye. If you win, you lose the game and you don't get in. Which would you rather have? A be-all, take-all, big-time game against Texas in the SEC championship game? Or if you take last week's college football playoff rankings, the new one don't come out until tomorrow, Alabama versus Texas in a first-round college football playoff game, with a week of rest. I do think John's right. This is a flaw. If you're going to have a 16-team playoff, which I never liked, I didn't like a 12-team. Heck, I wasn't all fired up about a 4-team because I always doubted John's motives. Sure, Barry, the top 4. It'll be wonderful. Little babies playing violins, flying through the air. Yeah. Little girls throwing rose petals in people's path. And I'm thinking, the first time we have a 14 playoff, John's going to be pounding the drum for an 8, then for a 16. And it happened exactly that way. Only way a 16-team or really a 12-team playoff makes any sense is if you get rid of the conference championship games, and they are never going to do that. So that John does expose the flaw in all of that. Because if I'm a head coach and I got to have a be-all, end-all, do-or-die matchup for a conference championship just to get in the playoff, or go ahead and get in the playoff and play an early round game, I'm getting in the playoff no matter what.
Yeah, no, you can have that conference. There again, it's a flaw.
I do agree with him there.
Great event. Bama fan will say, we've won enough of those. We don't need any more. Let somebody else do it. That'll be their mentality. But anyway,
Yeah.
I think, if we do go to 16, which I do think is going to happen eventually, that week 0, they call it, is going to be week 1. So the college football season is going to start a week earlier to be able to get it all put together. It is long and drawn out. I mean, I think the national championship game for this season is not going to be played till like the 19th of January. I mean, it's late. I mean, it's usually around the 10th. It's a week later. They need to push things forward. You're right. They're not getting rid of the conference games. The 4 buys, is it automatically the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and ACC are the highest rated?
The highest 4 rated conferences, which is going to be those conferences.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the way it is. That allows them, if somebody else comes in,
Liberty,
like if
for instance, or whoever, or Boise, for instance, undefeated, there's just really no way. I mean,
there's no way they're going to host. No.
Yeah.
They're not going to host. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's what I meant. There's no way they're going to get a bye. You're correct. Yeah. No way. Ever.
So,
but at least they'll get in.
I mean, think about that. Everybody's talking about Bama is in a great position to make the college football playoff. They're projected to win their next 3 games, even though that Oklahoma line looked a little low to me. Somebody knows something. But if they win out, why go to the conference championship game? Why do it? Nope, we're good. And of course, they're not going to have the right to say that. They're going to have to go.
It's not like they can turn it down.
If the cards lay out that Alabama is in a position to go play the conference championship game and then loses and is kicked out, you're talking about some people gnashing their teeth. They will be going ballistic.
We've got to change this. Right now, they're cool with it until it hurts their team. Then
I don't know about that.
Well, to answer John's question, the national championship game will be where is it?
Where is the national championship game?
I know it's going to be on January the 20th. Semifinals on the 9th and 10th. The championship game, it'll be in Atlanta. There it is, right down at the bottom. It'll be in Atlanta on January the 20th.
Monday.
You really have 2 more months left in the college football season, even though we are about now to enter week 12.
So the national championship game is on January the 20th.
Yes. Atlanta.
I will actually
6:30
in California that day. Have I told you that yet? I know it's 3 months away, but if I told you, I don't guess I have.
Yeah, usually in the old format, John would let me know, hey, I'm going to be out June 21st and 22nd. I'd always have to ask, this year? Yeah. No, next year.
So not only that, Barry, I'm looking at my calendar. It's Inauguration Day and Martin Luther King Day and the national championship all in the same day.
And Martin Luther King Day in Atlanta is an even bigger deal than ever.
Man, I didn't realize that. Did not realize that. Inauguration
I know a lot
day,
of people who would have to make a choice then if Alabama was somehow fortunate enough, and they've got to improve. They've got to improve quite a bit. If Alabama's fortunate enough to play in the national championship game, I know some friends of John's and mine, they're going to have to make a hard choice, the inauguration or the national championship game.
Yeah, man.
Nice. I didn't realize that. How about that?
Well, the inauguration will be during the day. Then the natties usually.
One of total. Well, yeah.
We'll have that all for you. You better believe it.
We'll have the inauguration day and same day inauguration. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting that it's all playing out on the same day on the 20th of January.
Yeah.
All right, as I mentioned, Tom Luganbill in about 30 minutes. But what do you say we get that Dreamland 777 topic wheel good and greased up so we can get it to spin? I know there's a lot of things that happened over the weekend that we're going to discuss here on the program. I love all of our chats that are coming through and our emails as well. As a matter of fact, D-Rob at Longshore and McKnight at gmail.com sent us an SEC playoff calculator. Interesting. I'm going to have to check into this, see how it's all calculated up.
My good friend Jason Jones points out and I tend to believe Jason on just about everything he says, just about. He says, if Boise keeps climbing, they will be one of the top 4. And that allows another G5 team to be in, which is interesting. I don't know that they'll be top 4. I don't know that they'll ever. I got to believe, Jason, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I got to believe that the College Football Playoff Committee is not ever going to let a G5 be top 4. Boise's good. I don't know if they're top 4 good, but they're really, really good. But I just don't think that the College Football Playoff czars will allow Boise to be top 4 and allow a Power 4 conference team to have to play in a first-round game, and that would allow another group of 5 teams. They don't want 2 group of 5 teams.
Yeah.
In the 12-team playoff. I believe you that the mechanism is correct. You could do that. I just don't think they would ever do it.
And they, being the television networks, don't want it.
Yeah.
They want games that get the largest ratings. I found this interesting, Barry. Somebody sent me this last night, a kind of a different version. Excuse me, different version, but basically the same thing. 3 of the current top 5 in the AP poll, Texas, Penn State, and Indiana, do not have a win over a team currently ranked. Number 9, Alabama, has more than the current top 5 has combined. Is that going to help them if they continue winning to maybe move up that college football playoff poll? It'll be interesting tomorrow night.
Yeah,
a lot of people are saying that they're going to still be at 11 tomorrow night. Maybe 10, but they're thinking 11. But it is amazing that, and you look at, we talked about Texas back in the summer during SEC Media Days, and I thought this was interesting. The current conference record of Alabama's opponents is 23-13. The current conference record for Texas's opponents is 11-20. Alabama's played 5 teams currently ranked in the top 25. Texas has played 1 and lost. Texas,
Indiana, and I'm Team Hoosiers. I am all about Indiana getting the Big Ten championship and earning the bye and earning all that. They don't play this week, but they play Ohio State in Columbus in 2 weeks. What's Indiana's? I mean, they've beaten Florida International, Western Illinois, UCLA, bad, Charlotte, Maryland, Northwestern. They beat Nebraska by 7 touchdowns, Washington, Michigan State, and Michigan, the defending national champion. Where's the value there? Where's the big one? Where's the signature win? All of that will take care of itself. What you're saying is right. Indiana hasn't played a team that, but all that takes care of themselves. They beat Ohio State on the 23rd.
Yep.
There's your win. Usually all that stuff ends up working out in the end. Every once in a while, every 3, 5, 7, 8 years, there's a glitch in it, which allows an Alabama to leapfrog into the championship game because, what was it? Oklahoma State lost to Iowa State or something like that. But all in all, it'll end up working out. Things in the college football playoff, as in life, usually work out the way they're supposed to work out.
Just work out. Kudos to Jalen Milroe. Is he back in the Heisman race? Will he be in New York in December? Well, heard some people talking about that. Had some kind of up and down games, but certainly Saturday night on a big stage. I don't know what the TV ratings for that game were, but he certainly had a lot of eyeballs watching him
and
score those 4 touchdowns.
Unfortunately, John, with great success comes great failure on the other side. Here's Milroe's numbers. Again, Alabama wins big. Final score there, 42-13 in Baton Rouge. Milroe only ran it 12 times. 12 rushes, 185 yards, 4 touchdowns, 15 yards per carry. I don't know who the LSU defensive coordinator is. I probably would if I sat and thought about it, but we're live here.
He came from Missouri. He was Missouri's DC
Baker.
last year.
Last name Baker, something like that. And he he might be looking for work. He might need to get that CV buffed up a little bit. Because after, say, the first couple of carries, you might want to get on the headset down and say, hey, we need to focus on 4. Again, we'll try to stop 4 here. They never did. Never did.
And, Barry, it's interesting, just off the, my top of mind, just taking a guess, when you said how many times did Milroe run it, it felt like he ran it 40.
It sure did. It sure
but
did.
He only ran it 12?
Now, 12
that's
times,
amazing.
185 yards, 4 touchdowns. As a team, Alabama ran for 318. Now, I don't know if they're going to be able to run for 300 against everybody. They might be able to run for 500 against Mercer. Who knows? But, John, that's the identity of this team. And if they don't realize that, then they're idiots. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
That's what this team needs to do, John. I mean,
yep.
Saddle up number 4. He is your best player. And if you're a coordinator, your job is to make sure your best player is in a position to succeed as much as you can. That's what that team needs to do from here on out. We'll ask Luke's about that.
And I got to admit,
obvious.
Barry, people might have forgotten it, but people compared this game Saturday night to Alabama's visit to Knoxville several weeks ago and how that game started out. I mean, Alabama's, the crowd's loud, the energy, penalties. Alabama's first play, illegal procedure. You're thinking, uh-oh, here they go again. On the road, loud, crowds into it. But they were able to put that behind them, as we saw, and dominate. But started out a little slow, kind of got you a little concerned, but they took care of business. And a lot of people are reevaluating where this team might be when it comes to playoff time.
We're going to hit the wheel in just a moment. Chris the Bammer, maybe that second cup of coffee should come a little bit later on. We're going to get to the wheel. Just teasing with you.
Coming.
But before we go to break, our buddy Kirk.
Broken.
our buddy Kirk at 7:36. Again, I realize Ole Miss had a big win. Boy, they looked good in their victory over Georgia in Oxford. They rushed the field and all that. Ole Miss goes to 8-2 with a 28-10 win. Kirk says, I would take Jackson Dart over Jalen Milroe any day of the week. Now, if you're saying in the NFL draft, maybe. I mean, he's projectable as a better draft pick, I guess. But boy, if he ever figures out like Jalen Hurts did, when he transferred to Oklahoma, if he can ever figure out the pass game, he is.
Yeah, I would say Jackson Dart's a better passer. I would say that, and probably today a better NFL style quarterback throwing the football. That's what they're there to do.
But if you're talking about hard to defend, I'm going Milroe.
Yeah, no doubt. Great athlete. No doubt about it. I'll just take a quick break. The wheel, I can see, yep, it's ready to go. It's loosened up. A lot of WD-40 on it. It is spinning, and we're going to get that thing going when we get back.
It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Enjoy all the food, drink, fun, and winning at Victoryland. An elevated entertainment value, the best overall casino experience, and the highest jackpot payouts makes Victoryland the place to be. Go to Victoryland.com to find out more about their incredible giveaways, daily promotions, and free play opportunities. 777 Casino, simulcast thoroughbred, and greyhound racing are all within a short drive from anywhere in the Southeast. Victoryland, I-85, exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. At Victoryland, you can be a winner too.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air has teamed up for the 4th year with the Food Bank of East Alabama and Montgomery Area Food Bank in an effort to reduce the high percentage of food insecurity within the Montgomery and Auburn communities. For every new Dixie Cares Plan membership that is purchased, Dixie will be donating 7 meals to partnered food banks. Last year alone, Dixie donated 13,356 meals. Our goal for 2024 is 15,000. Thank you for choosing Dixie and for helping us make a difference within our community.
Welcome back in, everybody. Glad you are with us. Barry, man, free play is going on all day at Victoryland. It started at 3 a.m. this morning. How about that? You an early bird. You could have gotten in on some free play at Victoryland early this morning. It'll continue throughout the day, so make sure you take advantage of the free play opportunities at Victoryland, where you can be a winner too. All right.
Here we go. Without
Chris
further
Tanner
ado.
is chomping at the bit. So
All right.
get
Here,
the wheel
boil.
going, and let's spin it. Let's see
Wow,
what
we got 6 today.
Oh, yeah, loaded up today. Kidding me?
Keep going. Oh, yeah.
I'm glad that this one landed on it first, because I've been chomping at the bit to discuss this.
Really?
Fight
That surprises
flight.
me. How about that?
Yeah, the fight
Really?
flight. So, as you mentioned earlier, Barry, the Auburn basketball team departed the Robert O. Pitts International Airport. What's it called over there at Auburn?
It's the Robert O. Pitts International. I don't know if it's international. No.
So they depart the Robert O. Pitts Airport in Auburn.
Yeah.
For their trip to Houston, and
For basketball.
Basketball game. Yeah, basketball team. They're not even probably 5-10 minutes in flight, probably less than 10. And the pilot radios air traffic control and says, we got to get out of here. We were declaring an emergency. We got to land. Can we go to Montgomery? They're probably over Montgomery by this time.
Yeah, it was not very far into the flight.
Yeah. This is what the air traffic controller sounded like.
They've got an altercation on board. We knocked to declare an emergency and land. We got a bunch of basketball players fighting. The flight deck is secure. The threat level is contained for the moment. We just had, police on the ground, and we had 2 players that got into physical altercation. Clothes were ripped, and 1 blood player. And Center 2681, it's kind of crazy. Were we direct Montgomery?
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Montgomery didn't want you.
All right, the pilot sounds a little bit like our buddy Russell Terry. It wasn't him though, over there at Gales, but
so
it was like when they just had taken off. You know how long it takes to get in the air from Auburn Opelika to Montgomery? It'd be like 5 minutes,
maybe. So I'm thinking, how did this play out? Did maybe the guy recline his seat back a little too far and hit the guy behind him in the knees, and the guy said something to him, and then a fight breaks out? But
I don't know.
All seriousness,
freshman guard Ja'Kai Howard and senior forward Jaheim Hudson, were escorted from the. I don't know. When they said there were police on the ground, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. I mean, you fly a lot out of the Montgomery Regional Airport. I do too. I've never seen, God forbid, a fight on a plane.
Oh, I hope I never do.
Well, no, but I mean, police on the ground. They wasn't like handcuffs. I mean, it's just Bruce probably called somebody and had him take him back. It was Ja'Kai Howard and Jaheim Hudson. I've called games with Hudson before, and I'm surprised he's at Auburn, to be honest. He's played at Georgia State, and Troy's played them, and he's all right. He ain't great or anything, but they took them off, and then they flew back again. It was like 3:20 in the afternoon, and then they flew back.
So here's my
flew
deal.
down to Houston. What in the world? Those guys are in. I mean, that's embarrassing. I mean, CNN was reporting it. It was ESPN. That's a terrible look for Auburn basketball. They better have won that game, and they did.
Yeah, it is a bad look. And, Barry, I think anything that happens out of the ordinary on a flight, law enforcement's getting called in. Whether you just kid around about something or you're fighting on a plane, when that plane gets back on the ground, somebody's going to be waiting on you because that's just something you don't mess with. And I'm surprised these young men didn't know that. What happened 5 minutes after takeoff that they felt like they had to get into a fight where clothes are ripped and there's blood? I mean, you're probably not at 10,000 feet yet. I mean, they didn't even turn the seatbelt sign off. And you're up there fighting the pilot. And from what I understand, the flight attendant was frantic. She's scared to death, telling the pilot, we got a problem back here. I'm surprised the coaching staff didn't jump in and, pin the guy to the floor or whatever. But that's just something you don't fool around with.
Well, and plus, obviously you don't do that. You don't do that. You never do that. Don't do that. But, the team flight left around 3:20 in the afternoon. Had to come immediately back, escorted those two guys off. Pearl probably addressed them and everything. You have to, as far as, I guess, security and the manifesto, you got to do it all over again. That flight left again for Houston like 6 hours later. Just in terms of, the team getting ready for the flight. I mean, that could have been that had to have been a huge distraction. And it's embarrassing and stuff. Of course, Auburn went down to Houston, won it by 5. And it was a great game. Great game. Best basketball game you may see this year. Houston is all that, but so is Auburn. Auburn ends up winning it by 5. And after the game, we were watching on TV, the Auburn players were celebrating on the court by going, like that, run away.
And this dog.
Don't know if I'd have drawn attention to that from.
Dogs on a plane. I mean, really? Come on. I mean, that's just not a very good look. Not a very good way to represent your institution.
No, very embarrassing.
I do not understand that one. Chris the Bammer says they were fighting over smoothies. That could have been the case. There's a limit, Chris. And if somebody got one too many smoothies, I could see a fight breaking out.
That was mine. Yeah.
So, just not a good look. They won the game, but, man, they got to get that reeled in big time. Hey, speaking of basketball, Barry, what's going on down in Florida with their basketball coach?
Wow. Yeah, his name's Todd Golden. He used to be an assistant at Auburn. Not that there's any connection. He's been the head coach at the University of San Francisco. I think he's in his second year at Florida now. And the Independent Florida Alligator, which is a student newspaper. I mean, it's staffed and run and all that by students. But it is, not associated with the University of Florida officially.
Yeah.
Report that several complaints have come out against him for sexual harassment. And I'm not sure what the level of it all is. Following co-eds on Instagram and texting or direct messaging co-eds on Instagram and sending pictures, inappropriate pictures to these young co-eds on Instagram and then deleting the direct messages and stuff like that. It's horrible.
Yeah.
They've been having issues down there. And
man, that is not a good look. He, of course, denying it to this point, but
so anyway, they came out with a statement earlier in the week, the athletic director, Scott Strickland, who's a friend of mine, saying that Billy Napier will be back next year. After all that, he will be back. and now that just blows it right off of the pages. And then Florida goes and ends up losing 49-17 to Texas to drop to 4-5. Florida's, I think Napier's still the guy. I'm a believer in Billy Napier. I really am. But they go to Texas with a walk-on transfer quarterback from Yale.
Oh, tough.
Not much of a chance there, boys.
Yeah. Texas got on them got on them quick and stayed on them, and then unfortunately, we're gonna have to talk a little bit more about that game later in the next hour.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that was a tough one. All right, let's spin it one more time before we have to take a next break and get ready for Tom Luganbill, who'll be joining us. Brought to you by River Bank and Trust. Let's see what's up next on our Victorland 777 topic wheel for this Monday. Take a big spin and see where it lands. Well, it is.
By the way, big shout out for Gurn Jr. for getting that flight audio on there.
Yes.
Very nice.
All right, Barry, I don't want to sound like the old man saying, get off my lawn, because I've talked about this a lot.
Field storming.
But the field storming's got to stop. And Herb Street talked about this during the Alabama-LSU game. When LSU students started throwing stuff on the field after what they thought was a bad call, water bottles, used to be liquor bottles. At least it's water bottles now. But when's it going to stop? It's not going to stop because they show it on television. Students think it's funny. They're not going to be punished for doing it. They'll say they are, but come on. They're not going to be able to figure all that out. How are they going to stop this? They got to penalize the school. They got to really do something severe that sends a message. This thing over in Oxford, you could see it coming. I mean, the students are coming out of the stands. They're on the sidelines.
They're coming out early.
I said, you wait for there to be some stoppage in play. They're going to storm the field then. The game won't even be over. That happened.
That's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
And there were so many people on that field in Oxford. You know, how they got Lane Kiffin out of there, how they were able to interview him. I don't even know if he shook hands with Kirby because there were so many people on the field. It is, to me, a ticking time bomb, and we're sitting around waiting for something to happen. Somebody's going to get cold-cocked. Some player's going to get hit. Some player's going to retaliate. Some coach might get in a ruckus. Are they just waiting for that to happen before they do something?
I don't know. And I'm trying to figure out whose responsibility it ultimately is. What's the school going to do? Ultimately, if you get 70,000 fans that want to do something, how much security will it take? What will happen there? You remember, it was a really bad precedent. I don't think the officials made the correct call early in the Texas-Georgia game on the interception that they called interference on the defender, and then they started throwing bottles and stuff on the field, and it allowed the referees to get them together and say, I don't really feel really strong about that call. Maybe we ought to overturn it. Okay, if you want to overturn it, let's overturn it. And they overturned it. Made the fans feel like they had a hand in getting it overturned. I'm sure there were probably some LSU fans who felt the same way in their drunken state. But then again, you got sometimes there were some bad calls over the weekend. The head coach at San Jose State, Ken Neomatololo, he was screaming at the officials after their game. He was trying to follow one out there. The athletic director at Utah, he gets in front of the post-game media before the coaches could get there, and he goes off about how the referees were terrible, how they were proud to have joined the Big 12 conference, but they're not proud tonight because we won the game and it was stolen from them. Yesterday, the Big Ten fined him $40,000. So, I mean, we kind of help set the tone. I'm surprised anybody's a referee anymore. Anybody who referees, you guys out there who referee youth league, Y league, middle school, junior high, high school, college, whatever, God bless you. Because I've done it before, but I would not do it now.
I don't want to see this, but if this continues and something does happen, and it is, I don't want it to happen, but I just have a feeling it is. Are they going to have to put some type of fencing around the seating areas so fans cannot enter the playing field?
That's what they do at some soccer stadiums.
Yeah. I mean, is that where we're heading? Where they're just going to have to put up some type of fencing that you can see through, but you can't get through. because these knuckleheads, I don't get it. Once you get out there, oh, hey, woo, hey, we're here. So what?
And then
I've heard
at
these
some
people
point,
go, well, it's what makes college athletics what it is. Getting out there on the field. No, that's the dumbest reasoning I've
I
ever
will
heard.
submit to you, I think the television networks like it.
Sure they do.
I think they do, because it is good TV. Terrence says that Georgia Tech stormed the field as well. They beat Miami. Georgia Tech fans storming the field?
They were pretty excited. They were pretty happy about it.
A bunch of engineers on their slide rules falling out of their pockets and everything. I remember the infamous story 2 years ago when Appalachian State beat Troy on a Hail Mary in Boone. College game day had been there that morning. They stormed the field. I mean, it was a mess. They had a couple of people had heart attacks out there, and the public address announcer kept pleading with the people to clear a space so that ambulances can get to the people with the heart attacks. A guy broke his leg. There was one guy trying to get out, and the fencing around the outside between the actual field of play and the Troy locker room has little spikes on the top. And let's just say he did not clear that spike, and he ripped himself a new. Well, anyway,
ouch. That just makes me wheezy something about it.
Terrible is going to happen, and there's going to be a lot of hand wringing and you know, a lot of.
You get a bunch of drunk students out there. Somebody's going to say something or do something. You get a riot, basically, a mini riot going on out there around the 20-yard line. You got 2 state troopers on the field. You think those 2 guys are going to stop it?
2.
Not going to happen.
You're right.
It is a ticking time bomb. We talked about it with Lugs last week. He's on the field. He gets it. He knows. Think it's out there again. Oh, you're the old man. Get off my lawn. I'm telling you. I've been on the field when these things have happened. It ain't fun. It's kind of scary. Don't want any part of it. All right, let's take a quick break. When we return, Tom Luganbill is going to join us, brought to you by River Bank and Trust. And we're certainly looking forward to hearing what Lugs has to say. Welcome to Banking Above and Beyond with River Bank and Trust.
It's our Veterans Day show, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speed associated with our installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Both locations offer fully stocked pro shops with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com.
Heads or tails, kick or receive, with the wind or against the wind. Buy your friend a Bud Light. Buy a stranger a Bud Light. Go to your team's bar. Go to the opposing team's bar. Buy a round during the next truck commercial. Buy a round during the next talking duck commercial. If you're truly up for whatever this weekend, grab the perfect beer for whatever happens. Crisp, refreshing Bud Light. Make 2 plans and let the NFL coin toss make the call. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the River Bank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to Banking Above and Beyond at River Bank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region. locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust. All right, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us here on this Monday. Tom Luganbill going to join us here momentarily, college football analyst for ESPN. Always enjoy having Lugs on. And, of course, he's brought to you exclusively by our friends at River Bank and Trust. Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the River Bank and Trust difference, and they invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond with locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Lugs, good Monday morning. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
Good morning, guys. I'm doing good. How are you today?
We're doing well. What was the takeaway from Pittsburgh when the Panthers lose to Virginia?
Man, you talk about blowing an opportunity. If you're Pitt, you're 7-1. You just lost on the road to a really good SMU team, but it's your only loss in conference. You're still in play, and you looked at the schedule for them, and you weren't looking at the Virginia game as being a threat. You were looking at the Clemson game as being something that could really matter. So, the opportunity was out in front of Pitt to still be in this thing because of the strength of their schedule remaining as opposed to SMU and Miami's. And what a crazy day in the ACC as a whole anyway with what took place in Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because we've had a lot of people already asking on our chat line about Miami's loss to Georgia Tech. What about Haynes King? I mean, gee whiz, this guy, Miami had no answer for him.
Listen, he's different, and they're different with him. Honestly, had he not gotten injured, guys, I think that they are 7-3, 8-2, and not 6-4. They're a pretty good football team. You saw that on Saturday. But he's the engine that makes the train go. I mean, he really is. And he's so banged up. He can't throw the ball past probably 10 yards downfield, yet he was 6 of 6 in the little throws that he did have, and he threw a touchdown. But their ability to run the football, and let's not forget, this wasn't just Haynes King that was dinged up. It's a true freshman quarterback that's alternating with him.
Right.
In obvious situations when he comes in the game, everybody in the stadium knows what they're going to do, right? Then you lose Jamal Haynes. You lose Chad Alexander, so now you lose your top 2 running backs. You're down to a true freshman and another kid by the name of Trey Cooley, and everything that could have gone wrong in-game from an injury standpoint for Tech did, and it still didn't matter. I mean, I thought it was a remarkable game plan and approach on behalf of Brent Key and his offensive staff to be able to massage that thing and push all the right buttons and have the right quarterback in at the right time versus this call and that call. It was just really, I thought it was a masterclass in play calling.
One more theme from the ACC before we move on. Notre Dame beats Florida State by 7 touchdowns. Mike Norvell fires his coordinators and his wide receivers coach. It's that time of the year. Is that a Band-Aid? Is that a concession to keep his job? Well, how do you read that?
I don't think his job is so much in jeopardy just yet. I think it's a signal to the administration, to the football team, to everybody involved in the organization that some major swift changes are coming. And we want to get ahead of it prior to the transfer portal, prior to, be ahead of it from a signing day perspective to let prospects know that changes are happening and to give them a head start. Now, listen, from here to the end of the season, I don't know who's going to coach the rest of the team. I mean, you still have games you've got to coach. Now, I'll say this. Mike Norvell calls the offense. Alex Atkins was a coordinator in name. He did not call the offense. So from the offensive perspective, I don't think that has much impact. They'll take somebody probably in an off-the-field role and put them on the field from a positional standpoint. But listen, changes need to be made. It's an inexcusable dip that this team took, and dip's a mild-mannered term to use, but changes had to be coming, and they probably had to be far and wide.
Barry, it's interesting because we were talking about Florida State earlier in the show, and it just hit me. I believe Alabama opens up at Florida State next year. I think that's their opening game.
Good luck.
I'm sure they're thrilled about that in Tallahassee. Lugs, what's up with Carson Beck?
Well, I don't think it's just Carson Beck, but I don't think Georgia's very good, guys. I don't think they have any weapons at wide receiver. They're marginal at running back. The offensive line has played average to above average in consideration to what we thought that they would be coming into the year. I do think Carson Beck maybe has gotten caught up a little bit in being Carson Beck, and the social media side of it, the NIL side of it. It can have an impact. You have an off season of everybody telling you how great you are, and you're getting all of these accolades, and people are pouring stuff in your lap, and all of a sudden things aren't going overly well. And it's not just him. Like I said, they've got other issues. Now their schedule is going to help them with the College Football Playoff Committee. But if you took that G off their helmet and you put the South Carolina logo on their helmet, would you call them a playoff team?
I probably would not. No.
I wouldn't either. Wouldn't either. And then, this week, obviously, with Tennessee, coming to Athens, this is a win and you're still going, lose and you're out. Not just for the SEC championship, for the college football playoff.
That felt like a college football playoff game, although I don't think either one that they're out. Likewise, down in Baton Rouge, Alabama LSU. Alabama wins that going away. Jalen Milroe went out of his mind. And that was felt more like a playoff game because you really felt in that sense the loser's out, Tom.
Well, there's no question. And what a football game. I mean, holy smokes. I mean, for Alabama to, for the most part, play clean, right? We've talked about it multiple times here. The players aren't the problem. They got players, right? It's how they play the game, how they execute. Are they fundamentally disciplined? They still had penalties, right? But didn't turn the ball over. They were 10 of 13 on third down, which is remarkable. And I've had a couple of people bring up to me that, why can't we run the ball with the running backs? Who cares? Like, why are you worried about that? This is what this iteration of Alabama's football team is. And there's going to be times where it's not going to be pretty. And it's going to be a slugfest, right? But they've clearly found that Jalen Milroe and what they do with him on the ground is what makes this clock tick. And, Mike Leach used to say, balance is full of baloney. Balance is what's working, right? Okay. Well, that's how I would apply that same logic here to Alabama. Is it always pretty in the passing game? No. Did they miss some deep throws the other night? Yeah. Does weather have something to do with that? Maybe. I will say this, though, in terms of how Jalen Milroe looked physically, you're never going to convince me he wasn't injured to some degree in the month of October. Because there were a couple of plays, and I remember most notably the South Carolina game, particularly the touchdown where they're on the goal line or in the red area, and he rolls to his left. He comes around and he rolls back to his right, and it's a foot race to get to the pylon, and he looked like he had a piano on his back, right? I mean, he just didn't look explosive and sudden and fast, and he looked every bit of that on Saturday night, and so did Alabama's defense.
Luke's earlier, Barry was reading some stats and after the game, if you'd asked me how many times Jalen Milroe carried the ball, I would have said 30. It seemed like it. I mean, it felt like he ran it 30 times.
12 rushes, 185 yards, 15.4 yards per carry.
That, and, we talk about the other parts of the run game. I actually give Nick Sheridan, the offensive coordinator, and Kalen DeBoer a lot of credit. Jam Miller and Justice Haynes, they combined for 21 carries. So it wasn't as if they were just stubborn and saying, we're not going to hand the ball to the running back. So they got some work out of them. They actually, attempted to get them involved. I just think that it's one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right. And if LSU has 2 weeks to prepare for something that they know is coming and has no answer for it, like, why would you stop doing it?
If, and I am not an iffer, if Harold Perkins had not gotten hurt, John Emery or somebody had not gotten hurt for LSU, are those two things that LSU fans can tack their frustrations on and say, well, this is where it went south? Or is it structural? Is it institutional?
I don't know if you could put it on just two players like that. Now, if it was a quarterback, right, and all of a sudden you're playing, you're having to play with what Florida State's playing with, something to that degree. Now, that's a different conversation. I think Harold Perkins is an elite level player, but he plays one position, not 10 others at the same time. And Caden Durham's been a really nice addition as a freshman running back, so I think he's filled that void. I just don't know if LSU is as good from a personnel standpoint, particularly on the defensive front, as we become accustomed to being over the last, 25 years. I mean, when you look at LSU and you watch them and you thought, whoa, defensively, how are you supposed to move the ball on these guys? You don't look at them that way anymore. And I don't even know if that's so much structural as it is. Maybe they're just not as talented.
Right.
So, Luke, we were talking about this in the first hour. If Alabama wins out, and most people believe they got a really good chance of doing so, they'll be 10-2, and the belief is they'll be in the college football playoff. If other things happen where Alabama could possibly get into the SEC championship game, why would they want to do that? I mean, why? You know you're in the playoff. Why go to Atlanta and you lose and you got 3 losses? Are you still in the playoff?
Yeah, it's a really, really good question because I thought about this logic as it relates now to the ACC championship game as well with Miami's losses. Why would you jeopardize yourself by playing against what would be a ranked opponent? All right, if you win, okay, but if you lose, then you're relying on the committee to put so much stock and credence in 2 things: the fact that you got to the championship game, and what was your schedule and strength of record upon getting there, right? And that carrying enough weight when you might have a 3rd loss and somebody else or 2 to 3 other teams might have 2 losses. So, for example, I'll give you a prime example here. What if Ole Miss finishes 10-2?
Okay.
And the loser of the SEC championship game has 3 losses, but one of Ole Miss's losses is to Kentucky. Is that how does that play in the minds of the committee, right? You may only have 2 losses, but one of them's to Kentucky. The other team had to play in a championship game and lost to, let's just say, the 3rd-ranked team in the country. That's their 3rd loss, right? How does that play? And I think that's the one thing about the College Football Playoff Committee that nobody really knows, right? That's the big mystery is where do each individual in that room place their value and their stock, and what carries weight for them? Is it the eye test? Is it the combined records of common opponents? Whatever metric you want to come up with. What do they value? And they're going to find themselves, by expanding to 12 teams, that they're going to be in a position where there's could be 2 to 3 to 4 10-2 teams. Only 2 of them can play in the championship game, and maybe in another league there's 1 to 2 10-2 teams and one loss team. Well, how do you quantify that? Like, what makes one 10-2 team better than the other 10-2 team if they're all playing each other and picking each other off? I don't know.
You used to have a computer that nobody understood that would spit something out, and nobody had to take responsibility for it. Hey, it's the computer, that kind of a deal. Now somebody's got to make a decision, and like anything else involving human beings, it's fallible, Tom.
Well, and wouldn't you guys love, I would love this, and I don't know why we don't do it. I mean, I know why we don't do it, but why wouldn't you set up cameras in all 4 corners of that room, mic everybody up, and just unveil it? Start a 8-week or an 8-hour live stream. People can come in, they can pop out, they can listen in, they can watch, they can hear what's being considered, they can see the metrics, they can get a true feel. Like, why not pull back that curtain, right? Because what I think would happen ultimately, and I've been through the mock process, they invite a lot of us in broadcasting to go sit in and do the process. They'll pick year 2014, and we'll throw all the teams out there and start all over. And it's fascinating. Well, what you come away with more so than anything else is the respect for how hard it is to do.
No kidding.
Well, we all summarize that it's hard to do. We all think that it's hard to do. But until you would reveal it to the public and give them a sense of going, oh, okay, I didn't consider that, or I didn't think about that. It's kind of like officiating. Like, officials would be helped if we did in college football what we do in the UFL and the XFL, where you put the video cameras in the officials' rooms, you let the officials and their mics talk to each other, you let the fans hear it, let them unveil what they're seeing, what are all the clips, this is how we got to the conclusion. And instead of all the criticism, you'd have an appreciation.
Well, here's what the perception is among the college football consumers is that you've got all those people around a big circular table, and one of them says, "Excuse me, I think Boise State, if they win out, I think Boise State should be a top 4 team, get a first round bye, and we should have another group of 5 team in." And then all of a sudden, one of the TV suits in the background will step forward, lean into that guy, and I'm sorry, I misspoke. I think only that's what the perception is.
Well, remember
is
when I
that
went
this
back
is
and said, I know why we don't do it?
that's
Yeah.
what you were referring to.
Sure.
Tom Luganbill is with us. Tom, I got to ask you this question. Now, it's an open-ended question. You can take it where you want to. A lot of ears pricked up when Hugh Freeze said, "Look, Peyton Thorne has been solid for us, but we're at the point of the season where we may need to try to open it up or look at other things." He's referring to the quarterback position. He's referring to giving somebody else a chance. What's your advice to him at this point of the season?
Well, I mean, you got nowhere to go but up, right? I mean, you could sit there if you wanted to and throw Walker White into the mix, the true freshman. You can't burn his red shirt. He hasn't played. And maybe that's what he's referencing. He's saying, listen, let's see if what this young guy that we brought in, we recruited him, we signed him. You know, he's a pretty highly touted guy. If that's what he's referencing and there's no danger to lose the red shirt, why wouldn't you? Now, I don't know if you want to throw him to the wolves against Alabama in a couple of weeks, but I can see where he's coming from. And they haven't had good enough quarterback play. He knows that. Everybody knows that.
But they have had pretty good play out of Jarquez Hunter. We saw it up in Lexington in the second half. You know, the word is, well, he was gassed. That's why we didn't play him in the second half. Gassed? I found that a little odd.
He had 12 carries. What are we talking about? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's your bell cow. That's the guy that can get it done. Okay, maybe Vanderbilt's, better defensively than Kentucky is. I get it, but I'm with you. Gassed, I do not understand that. And, the 3 that they've got left, they sure should win this week against Louisiana Monroe, A&M the following week. That could be a little tough. On the road at Alabama, no doubt, could be tough. But I'm kind of like Barry. I mean, I think, and like you said, Tom, what do you got to lose? I mean, we've seen enough of Peyton Thorne. I think you give some of these other guys a shot.
Yeah, Peyton Thorne is – we have enough of a sample size to, if our eyes tell us something, believe it. It's kind of like what I said with DJ Uiagalelei prior to the season when I was so shocked that Florida State took him. Like, how many times does a guy have to show you what he is before you believe it, right? And so I think that's where we're at right now with Peyton Thorne.
Tom, where are you going to be this coming weekend?
I got a road trip by car this weekend. I've got Wake Forest at North Carolina, so I get to zip up to Chapel Hill and zip on back down. So I'm actually kind of happy I don't have to spend time in an airport or in a rental car.
That is a beautiful place to watch a football game.
Yes, it is. It is gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Especially this time of year.
Yep.
One more question. Indiana's off this week. They're undefeated. Ohio State in a week and a half. We'll probably ask you this a little bit later on, but how is Indiana doing what they're doing, and what kind of a chance do they have in Columbus?
Well, clearly they inherited a pretty solid nucleus and core of players from the previous staff. I mean, he didn't bring in 90 new guys, right? So I think that's number one. It's a developmental program, so a lot of those guys had been in the program for a while, had redshirted, and had been around. Then I think the number one thing he did that's made the biggest difference is Curt Cignetti went out in the open market and said, okay, I don't care who the biggest name quarterback is, who's been productive, who has won a lot of games. And nobody until he arrived in Bloomington had probably ever heard of Curtis Rourke. Now, my work has taken me to midweek MAC games for the last 15 years. I've done them each and every year. And I happen to have Ohio 3 times the last 3 years. And Ohio is a 10-win team with Curtis Rourke, right? So his body of work was really strong. And I think that was a real nice lesson in the transfer portal is, okay, well, just because somebody was a highly touted guy and he decides he wants to leave the program he's at doesn't mean that's the best guy. He went and got the most productive guy. And I think that they're really tough. They're physical. They don't beat themselves. They have outstanding quarterback play. And quite honestly, If they had a different logo on their helmet, I think the committee would have put them in the top 4 or 5 last week.
Huh. Interesting. That's going to be a whale of a game. And you know, everybody's going to be saying, is Indiana for real? We're about to find out when they play Ohio State.
You're right, but do they even have to be quote unquote for real? Because they can lose that game and still make the college football playoff.
Yep.
This is true for sure. Yeah. Outstanding. Tom Luganbill, as always, very much valued your thoughts and impressions. Appreciate the time.
You bet, guys. Always good to be with you. We'll see you next week.
Look forward to it, Tom. Tom Luganbill joining us. He does each and every Monday, brought to you by our friends at River Bank and Trust. Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the River Bank and Trust difference, and they invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond with River Bank and Trust.
Still to come. Well, I don't want to jump the gun on this. I was about to say still to come, the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Is there anything on it but that says the word Rizzy? I don't know.
Well, it could be. Yeah,
but
we got the topic.
I would imagine this, and I don't want to jump the gun. If it's okay with you, when we come back, can we go over the Phantoms picks? And all of that. You okay with that?
Definitely. We'll go over the Phantom. We'll go over our Dreamland Pick 3 contest. We're going to have a spinoff.
Yes.
We will have a spinoff today. Don't know exactly how many people are on. Well, I do, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag.
Yep.
We're having a spinoff. Get ready for that. And then we'll continue with our topic wheel as well. Keep the chats coming. Our River Region Straw chat line, our Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry email inbox, Longshore and McKnight at gmail.com. So many ways to get in touch with us. We want to hear from you. We've got some good comments and reaction today on this Monday edition of Longshore and McKnight.
Phantom recap, Dreamland Pick 3, all coming up with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
All guests of Longshore and McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024, Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders. Is there a certain Ford car, truck, or SUV that piques your interest, but you are not quite sure if it fits into your budget? Or perhaps you want to upgrade your current vehicle, but you absolutely refuse to deal with the same old aggressive and pushy song and dance that is found at the average car dealership? Then Stivers Ford is here to show you a better way. Their knowledgeable and courteous sales staff, the largest Ford inventory in Alabama, and of course, price. At Stivers Ford in Montgomery, Price sells cars. 4000 Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway, or check out their inventory at stiversfordofmontgomery.com.
So glad that we're back here on this Monday. Barry, check out our new logo. A lot of people have been asking.
I love it.
Tell me about Yellowhammer right there above Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Our good friends at Yellowhammer News, we have partnered with these good people. And so you can check us out at yellowhammernews.com. You can check them out on all their social media platforms, X, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. They are everywhere. And we will certainly be cross-promoting with them. We're going to actually have some of their folks on with us later this week. Looking forward to it. And there's information at yellowhammernews.com just about every afternoon about our program here, a great recap of what went on the show that day. And we certainly are excited to be associated with the good folks at Yellowhammer News. Check it out, yellowhammernews.com, or any other way you might want to find them through social media. And as I mentioned, Bears, as a matter of fact, C.J. Duncan is going to join us later this week. You know, former played here in Montgomery, locally at St. James, went to Vanderbilt, played for the Commodores. He's excited about his Doors, even though they took it on the chin against South Carolina. Not a good night in Nashville, but really happy about that. And a lot of people have been asking, and we want to make sure you check it out at yellowhammernews.com.
It's a good stuff today. Yellowhammer News is covering a lot of different Veterans Day celebrations that have been going on through the weekend and into it. So they're very timely, all over the state and also very local as well. Yellowhammernews.com. Okay, here we go. I was not on the show on Friday. I could not. I lost my voice. I had to power through a basketball broadcast in New Orleans on Saturday. Got back late Saturday night. I'm going to do 3 shows this week on the road. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to do the show in Conway, Arkansas. On Wednesday, going to do the show in Fayetteville, Arkansas. On Thursday, going to do the show in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And then back on Friday to do the show from Stivers Ford in Montgomery. So I'm going to be on the road a lot.
Friday, I think we're in Prattville on Friday, but I'll double check.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Is Conway, Arkansas? Is that where Conway Twitty's from? And what's
no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to be busy this week. So we are we're looking forward to a very busy week, very busy weekend of college football. And we understand the Phantom, he did come out on Friday, even though I wasn't there. The Phantom did come out with his Phantom Premium 4. John, can you relate to us how it went for the Phantom?
Well, we can, Barry. As we like to say, a non-losing weekend.
Okay.
You always got to be looking positive. We're looking for the positives here.
Gotcha.
But Barry, our 2 losses were embarrassing.
Really?
Weren't even in the ballpark. Very, very. So let's just go ahead and get those out of the way.
Do the losses first.
Yeah, get the losses out of the way. You know, I really thought Florida could keep it within the 21.5, even though I know they had some quarterback injury issues. I'm thinking 21.5. That is a lot of points. It's 21-0 Texas before you could, drink that first beer. So I knew things were going to be bad on that one. Florida just was never in the game. In the game. LSU at home catching 3. I'm thinking, man, catching 3 at home, and hadn't really been impressed with the Alabama offense over the last 3 or 4 weeks. I like the Bengal Tigers catching the 3. I didn't say they'd win the game outright. Check the tape. I just said I liked them to cover the spread. A 30-28 kind of game. 21-20, something like that.
Something respectable.
But that didn't happen. So those were our 2 losers. Our 2 winners. Let's look at the bright side. Let's don't dwell on the bad. Let's gloat in the good.
Okay.
You've kind of hinted. Did you take Georgia Tech? Boom. Georgia Tech at home in Atlanta catching double digits. Couldn't get enough of that one.
What was the number?
11.5. Here again. This is another reason you got to pay attention, because I felt this coming. Felt it coming. We got it at 11.5 when there was some uncertainty about Haynes King playing in the game.
Right. Georgia Tech quarterback.
As soon as they found out he was playing, that number dropped to 8.5. Didn't matter. Tech wins the game outright. But that line moved big time with that news. So we got a winner with Georgia Tech, win the game outright.
Right. There you go. People were thinking, Phantom, have you taken a blow to the head?
Well,
you need to go into the tent.
They also thought I'd taken a blow in the head when I picked Ole Miss, not only to cover, but to win the game outright.
All right, Gurn, can you confirm? Come on now. Come on.
And that really hurt some people in the Dreamland Pick 3. When we were grading these, there were a lot of Georgia -2.5.
Ooh.
A lot of those.
All right. If Gurn can pull up the audio from the Auburn basketball team playing, then Gurn,
All I can say is there were a lot of broken hearts.
Yeah, a lot of broken heart. And Barry, I got to give a shout out to Gurn in your absence on Friday. Gurn popped in from time to time during the show.
Good.
You know, just to get a little feel for what Gurn thought about Vandy and Bama and all that kind of stuff. But folks are just they're going crazy, Barry. They're going, wait a minute, we want to see this guy, but that's the mystery.
Yeah,
you get to hear him.
Yeah.
But you don't get to see.
See,
he's like
because
the
that's
wizard
the thing.
behind the curtain.
Well, that may be my request. Yeah.
I've been told many times I've got a face for radio.
Well, here's the thing, though, Gurn. Here's the thing: is if Gurn ever makes it on the screen and I'm out, I mean, I need this job. I need the income. Okay. All of a sudden, here I am, and people are saying, "What was the name of that quarterback that was supposed to start the season at Auburn before Cam Newton? What was it? Who was that guy?" Or this? They ever show Gurn's face and his takes and his commentary, and I become superfluous. I can't have that.
So we're gonna keep him a mystery man out there just for a while. We'll see.
Yeah, I like it.
So 2-2, we are still over 500 for the year, which is what our goal is. And we're going to keep prodding on, moving on through this football season this coming weekend. But there again, no blood. I know maybe a little juice, but there again, 2-2 on the weekend. Not great, but we'll take it with everything that happened.
Here's a pro tip as well. It doesn't feel like it. I was in New Orleans in the second weekend in November, and it was hot and it was muggy. But I'm telling you, the cold weather's coming soon, and you need to call our buddy Kenny at River Region Straw at 669-5959 for that seasoned firewood. Also, of course, the pine straw, the finest. You're not paying for sticks and pine cones. You get premium pine needles, premium pine straw. They'll even set it out for you. They'll even spread it. No order too big or too small. Kenny and the staff at River Region Straw, proud to bring you the Phantom. All you need to do is call or text Kenny at 669-5959.
Okay, so let's check out the Dreamland Pick 3 spinoff wheel.
Who we got? All right, here we go.
I believe, just to double check.
Here's the deal. We're going to have, I think, a spinoff every week.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, there's never going to be some guy, because we have so many entries. I mean, to do it is hard. To even get to the spinoff is hard. We always have so many entries that somebody is going to run the table, which is what we require. And it's usually going to be more than one somebody. So let's see who we got on the wheel.
Before you spin it, pull it up. Let's see who we got. We've got Daryl, Pam, and Matt.
Pam.
Those are our three.
All right.
Now, we'll say this, Barry. We had to wait till this morning because our man Terrence had the Sunday night game. He had Detroit -3. Ooh. Detroit's losing the game, the whole game. They come back, they win it. But, Daryl, they only won it by 3. They push.
Yeah.
You got to win. You got to sweep the board. Daryl.
Walk-off 52-yard field goal.
Yeah. Terrence, I feel sorry for you there. It's tough. It's a tough deal. All right, so those are our 3 finalists. Gurn's got them loaded. Let's give them a big spin, Gurn, and see who is this week's Dreamland Pick 3 winner.
Here we go.
Wheel's a little slow.
That's okay. I like the NFL theme in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, Pam, come on.
Oh, Daryl. Inches out Pam in the Dreamland Pick 3 spinoff. Daryl, good job. We'll get some information from you. Let me see if I can pull up who Daryl had here. Yes, Daryl had Alabama. He had Texas and Ole Miss. How about that? Way to go, Daryl.
That's very well done, Daryl. Nicely done.
Good job.
Dreamland Barbecue, $50 worth. We'll get that to you. Dreamland Barbecue, 2 locations in Montgomery, on Taylor Road at the intersection with Vaughn, and also downtown on West Jefferson, right across the street from the from Riverwalk Stadium. Ain't nothing like them nowhere. You can order for your tailgate party, or for your watch party or for anything, for your holiday party.
Yep,
at
that's right.
dreamlandbbq.com.
That's exactly right. So good job, Daryl. We appreciate that. We'll do that again this Friday when we're live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. What about Lane Kiffin? People talked about a signature win. Started out a little slow. Jackson Dart throws a pick. He gets hurt. You're thinking, uh-oh, here they go. Ole Miss is going to lay an egg here. I mean, the backup quarterback comes in, leads them down the field. They score. Dart comes back in the game, and Georgia's never in it.
Never in it. Shocking out there. All of a sudden, Georgia fans are feeling a little bit, they were smug for the longest time, and only Tennessee fans and Alabama fans can even approach the smugness level at Georgia. Bob from Pike Road, before we even got on the air this morning, 6:57 this morning, Bob from Pike Road said, and I quote, BFPR tried to tell everyone about UGA is more hype than substance. Their fan base saying UGA is on top when they haven't won but one SEC title since 2017. The cream rises and Bama is headed up. RTR, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, end quote.
Yeah. Watching Kirby on the sidelines, just his body movements and his facial expressions, you kind of could pick up on that a little bit. You kind of sense that maybe he knows this team is not as special as some of his past teams. And look, I get it. Carson Beck is missing two of his best targets. I mean, those guys that were at Georgia last year, Monken and the tight end. Why can't I not think of it?
McConkey and Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. I mean, you miss those two guys. Yeah, those are hard to replace. But there's something else about this Georgia team. Luke's touched on it. Their running game's not great. The defense has certainly not been up to Georgia standards. And Carson Beck, I know a lot of people saw him grinning and laughing on the sidelines late in the game.
He went Ben Leard on people.
He went Ben Leard on
them. Ain't supposed to be smiling when you're losing.
And I know he's got a lot of NIL deals and car deals with Maseratis or Lamborghinis. I was in Atlanta about a month ago, Barry. I've never seen so many billboards with Carson Beck's picture on it. He's, I believe he's probably got I think he's got some NIL deal with an attorney because he's on the billboard for some.
Well, if anybody should have a NIL deal with an attorney, it's a Georgia football player. I can tell you that.
Boy, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
And what about Georgia Tech? You kind of hinted at. I wanted to wait till the Phantom released his selections, but I thought Miami was they were playing with fire. I mean, they were just. They have not looked great. They've gotten down. They found a way to win. But I just thought Miami was ripe for the taking. Second straight road game. They've been struggling. They pulled rabbits out of the hat. Haynes King coming back, getting double digits at home.
Yeah.
And I thought Tech could win the game outright.
And I'm telling you, these are two former Saban assistants against each other as head coaches. Brent Key at Georgia Tech, and of course Cristobal at Miami. I think Miami has fallen into that trap where they have got a great quarterback. It's at the end of the game. He is outstanding. Cam Ward is great, but they're all sitting around, and instead of somebody taking responsibility and saying, I'm going to make a play, I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability, they're all sitting around waiting for him to pull it, like you said, rabbit out of the hat. He's done it before, and you can understand them feeling that way. It's human nature. But I think everybody was sitting around waiting for Ward to make a play instead of doing it themselves. And that's kind of tough. Also, somebody texted me this, and this is certainly to be commended. Auburn defensive end Keldrick Falk, who's had a terrific year. He's out of Highland Home, which is in the middle of nowhere, the Flying Squadron. He is going to be a first-round NFL pick. He's terrific. Keldrick Falk, his younger brother is Jacaleb. They call him JK. He's an Auburn commit. They were both in Highland Home over the weekend, and they were giving out turkeys for the Falk Brothers Big Bird giveaway, making an impact back in their community. The NIL really helps doing that. A great job by WSFA to cover that as well. Somebody texted me and said, how can somebody from Auburn have a Big Bird giveaway without Twilita?
Oh,
look, stop.
How do I not?
Yeah.
Man, I'm slipping. I can't believe I did not think of that.
Congratulations to those guys. You guys know what's important.
That is very, very good. Glad to hear that. Barry, did Mac Jones start for the Jags yesterday? In their loss?
Gosh. Yeah, I was gonna lay off a little bit about the Saints and whether or not finally, now that they got rid of Dennis Allen, they're going to start playing hard.
Look what happened.
Oh, yeah. We watched that game yesterday. Saints beat the Falcons 20-17. And Darren Rizzi gets his first win as a coach. Now, the Vikings played at the Jaguars. Jaguars had a lead, didn't give up a touchdown the entire game. 4 field goals for the Vikings. Now, actually had a chance to win the game. My Jaguars did. Actually had a chance. But Trevor Lawrence was hurt. Trevor Lawrence plays, Jaguars win that game. Mac Jones was the quarterback for the Jaguars. They had a total of 143 yards of offense. 143.
Now, is that the
Jones threw 2 interceptions?
Oh, maybe it is.
Both of them were horrendous interceptions. One of them was at the goal line. He was 14 of 22 for 111 yards.
Not good.
He still had a chance to win the game because the Jaguars' defense was great. But Mac Jones, people say, and I used to think so. There was a time when Mac Jones was playing better quarterback in the NFL than Jalen Hurts, than Tua was. Not anymore. He is a backup at Jacksonville. People say, well, he's only going to be a backup for a year or two. He'll be like Baker Mayfield and get a starting job. No. Horrendous.
So can the Jags maybe focus on just one uniform instead of a new one every week? I mean,
didn't necessarily love the white helmets. No. The Jaguars' identity is black and teal, mostly black. If they had been able to win that game, I was planning on wearing my number 8 Mark Brunell Jaguars jersey on the show today. But considering the fact they're 2-8, we haven't had many opportunities to celebrate.
You know, I do like the old school Tampa Bay Buccaneer uniform.
I don't know whatever was the problem with that.
I don't either. But I do think the Jags might need a total revamp of their uniform. It's just they got too much going on. Let's just tighten this thing up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe a new revamp. All right. Let's see what's on the wheel before we take our next break. I know we got a lot of folks coming in on our River Region Straw chat line. The wheel needs new batteries. Yeah, the wheel was kind of slow on that last spin.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. You got to take a breather. That wheel's spinning pretty hard.
Chris the Bammer says, is the wheel busted? All right, here we go.
All right, let's go. Here we go.
Now we're talking. Here we go.
Man. Okay, we talked about it with Luganbill a little bit earlier, Barry. What is going to happen with the quarterback position at Auburn? It's been kind of quiet. I mean, I'm checking Phillip out. I mean, PM, I've been on him all weekend long. Had some great content, but I've not read or heard anything about what's going on with Auburn at quarterback. Is they ready for La Mo coming to Jordan Hare on Saturday?
Nobody calls him La Mo except John. It's Louisiana. It's actually ULM. And you're not going to hear anything. Like John says, what's going on with the quarterback position at Auburn? You're going to find out what's going on at the quarterback position at Auburn about 11:40 Saturday morning.
Game time decision.
Can you imagine? Game time is at 11:45. I don't know what they're going to do. But again, it's going to be a big crowd. Auburn fans, salute to you for showing up and supporting the team through thick and thin, mostly thick.
You've said this multiple times. You're
Yeah.
really expecting a big crowd at
Oh,
Auburn
yeah.
at 11:45
Yeah.
against La Mo?
Yep. Because you've got that they've been supportive. They have been supportive, even though right now they're 3-6. They're thirsty for football. They're out there, and here's what they need. Here's what they need. They need a win. They need a win.
Yeah.
But here's what they need. They're assembling out there. They're there early, Eagle Flight, whole deal, ULM's having their
Tiger
warm-up
Walk.
and all that. And
forget
then
about Tiger
all of a
Walk.
sudden, Rick Smith over there in the PA shows on the huge screen TV, starting quarterback for the Auburn Tigers, number whatever.
Yeah.
Walker White. Place goes crazy. Place goes nuts. Everybody, bada get a ball.
Kick him in the butt,
But
big blue.
blue. You know,
Yeah.
that's at least that's what's playing through my mind that Auburn fans need. Because I'm scared about this. You think a fight on a plane in the basketball team's embarrassing? If Rick Smith comes up there, great friend of mine, we got to get him on the air, the Auburn public address announcer, and says, starting at quarterback for the Auburn Tigers, number 1, Peyton Thorne. You know what you're going to hear?
Boo, boo.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
I'm trying to
This
look
would
at
be
what
this is a
game-
perfect setup. Even, you're going to hear a smattering, one of my favorite words. You're going to hear a smattering of boos if it's now starting at quarterback. Hank Brown or Holden Gariner. Everybody's going to be looking at it like,
I
what?
just don't. I know tickets are $7. Is that upper deck tickets or like in the lower bowl?
oh, it's up.
Upper
Well,
deck?
right now it's just the upper deck corners.
I'm
I don't know
gonna
about
go ahead
closer to the game what it's going to look like, but right now it's in the upper deck in the far corners in the
I'm
end
not
zones.
sensing a sellout here. I think you will see sections of empty seats at Jordan Hare on Saturday for multiple reasons, mainly upper deck areas. There'll be some empty seats, but will there be more people at Auburn or in Tuscaloosa on Saturday? I'm here to tell you, even though Auburn has a seating capacity 13,000 seats less, I'm thinking they might have more fans in the stands than Alabama does.
As we go to break,
off a win at LSU.
this is what I think is unique to Alabama fans and of all the fans over across the entire country. This is what's unique to them. And we've talked about it a little bit in the past in terms of meaningless, worthless bowl games.
Yep.
Alabama the fans will not attend the Mercer game in droves. 1:00 in the afternoon. You can get your granddaughter to show you how to get it on ESPN Plus or whatever. They're not going to show up for that. There will be certainly sections, maybe decks that are empty for that game. Here's what sets them apart. Bama fans will brag about it. Bama fans will be proud of it. Of course I'm not going to that game. Yeah, I don't know any sane Alabama fan that is. Same thing with Alabama if they lose one of their last 3. If they get relegated to the Gator Bowl. Of course I'm not going to that game.
You know, Barry, this is the way I think about it.
They are proud of it.
This is the send Greg Byrne a message game. Don't give us any of these crappy games anymore. Mercer, forget about it. Don't want them. Don't do it. And I know you got to buy the tickets anyway. They got you over a barrel on that one, but at least you're not buying Cokes and popcorn and all that other stuff because you don't want to watch that crap opponent. And as I mentioned, I mean, like next year, Alabama opens up at Florida State. Wisconsin comes to Tuscaloosa. Hey, Greg, that's what they want. Give the people what they want. Always been a big believer of that.
Mercer is 9-1. Florida State is 1-9.
Mercer. Jeez. Who they played last week? Capitol Heights or Pike Road?
He didn't go with the lip flutter, please.
You know, I haven't done a lot of lip flutters on our new format. I got to keep that going. All right, when we get back, yes, Chris, there are 3 more topics on the wheel. We're going to spin it when we come back, greasing that thing up with is it 3? Do they still make 3-in-1 oil or is it just WD-40 these days?
Oh, 3-in-1 oil's a thing. Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Certainly can. Yep. Longshore and McKnight. Final break is coming up. It's all brought to you by Bud Light.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com. Enjoy all the food, drink, fun, and winning at Victoryland. An elevated entertainment value, the best overall casino experience, and the highest jackpot payouts makes Victoryland the place to be. Go to Victoryland.com to find out more about their incredible giveaways, daily promotions, and free play opportunities. 777 Casino, simulcast thoroughbred, and greyhound racing are all within a short drive from anywhere in the Southeast. Victoryland, I-85, Exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. At Victoryland, you can be a winner too. All right, welcome back in, everybody. About 9 minutes to the top of the hour. Love my man, J.R. Barry. He's going to be in Tuscaloosa. Says they don't have many home games left. He'll be there Wednesday. J.R.'s going up on Wednesday for the Mercer game. Love it, J.R.
I don't know. Look, I'm not criticizing the crowd. I'm just saying the crowd should be there, right? I mean, you've got a team that is defending SEC champions that are fighting for inclusion into the college football playoff for a national championship. Look at the remainder of their schedule. JR is exactly right. If you don't watch them against Mercer, and a lot of you will get a chance, ticket prices are pretty doggone low for that one. Chris is taking his 10-year-old daughter to the Mercer game. Good for you.
Go, Chris. Good for you. Awesome.
You know what? After the Mercer game, you got one more game scheduled.
Yeah.
Are you all putting your basket into the Iron Bowl? Is that where every bit of the focus is now? Because there's a really strong chance that for those of you who don't really know how it works, and are waiting for that first round game in Tuscaloosa against Notre Dame or something like that. I got to check on this because I'm sure I'm right. But that's going to be a 50-50 split of the tickets.
That is, I did not know that. That is,
now somebody say, again, I got to check, you might not get your tickets. You might not be able to settle that big behind in there in section 1AA under the overhang in front of the 50-yard line, but we'll see.
Barry, if I was a season ticket holder and I got tickets on the 30, say, and I've been paying for tickets for 25 years, and now comes around a hosting a college football playoff game, and I got to give my seat up to a Notre Dame fan, I can't see that going over real well. I'd not heard that. That would be a game changer.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
50% of the because I'm not wondering, there again, if Alabama has to go to Oregon to play, I don't know how many seats are in Autzen Stadium, but let's say they're 70,000.
Yeah, something like that.
35,000 tickets are going to Alabama fans.
Are being made available. I mean, if the Alabama fans ain't going, those tickets are going to get sold to somebody.
Yeah,
for sure. But that's my understanding. Is it is a true playoff game?
Okay,
I could be wrong. I doubt it.
Gurn, I love that. I doubt it. That sounds like something I'd say.
It's Charles Barkley's book.
Barry, you got to do this way. Until somebody tells me I'm wrong, I'm right.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to tell me I'm wrong. I'm
There you
going
go.
with it.
All right, here we go.
Spin the wheel, Gurn. Chris is chomping at the bit. Let's see what we got. 3 topics left. Victorland 777 topic wheel lands on the NFL. Did you see those Cowboys yesterday in the prime Sunday afternoon window for the whole world to see?
We were watching that game. We were doing other stuff. Dee, my wife, and I were just had it on. She was in there in the working on projects and stuff, and I was beat from my New Orleans trip. And it got to a point, I mean, it was 34-6 final in Dallas.
In Dallas, yeah.
Eagles end up winning it. Dallas is without Dak Prescott probably for the rest of the year. They started Cooper Rush. And the thing I didn't feel bad for Cowboys fans. I never do. But when I felt sorry for Jim Nance and Tony Romo, because it was 28-6 in the third quarter, and the Cowboys were still turning the ball over like it was going out of style. And those guys are getting out the lipstick to put on that pig. And they're talking about everything they can possibly talk about to try to keep an audience, because this game was way beyond. I mean, they outscored the Cowboys 20-0 in the fourth quarter. They still could be playing.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys would not have scored.
And when are they going to figure out, can you not give us a better game? I mean, if they didn't have NFL Sunday ticket, I don't know what I'd do, because I'm certain and my wife did this for the first time. I say my wife. Her name's Dee. Dee did this. She gave me she had it tuned into NFL Red Zone. Yeah, love it. Which that's the first time I'm really, really watching it for an extended period of time. And the reason why she did it was because she knows I wanted to watch a Jacksonville game, and it ain't available here in the area unless you get Sunday ticket. So we watched that to catch the Jaguars game. I couldn't do it. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, now it's third down. Let's see what happens. Oh, wait a minute. It's on the Commanders game. And the Commanders game, boy, they need to get this fourth down conversion. They got the fourth down. No, they didn't get the fourth down conversion. Oh, wait a minute. Here's the Panthers. I couldn't do it. Tonight, beautiful Monday Night Football. Will this be a good game? Dolphins and the Rams, a couple of teams that are combined 6-10. It's going to be at SoFi in LA, 7:15 ESPN, and the Rams are a 2.5-point favorite. I mean, the Dolphins have been traveling a lot this year. I think they've already gone to Seattle. Now they're in LA. Every time I watch the Dolphins, O'Bear, I just I cringe because of Tua and all those concussions. Just scared to watch. Okay. Maybe it will be. We'll see. All right, Gurn, spin it again. Let's see what we got left. And we're going to combine them both, I believe. All right. Okay. Spin them anyway. Here we go. And it falls on the Trojans. Yep. Barry, you mentioned it. You're on the road a lot this week. Troy basketball in the state of Arkansas. Yep. Troy is at number 16 Arkansas in Fayetteville Wednesday night, 7:00. It'll be SEC Network Plus, and I'll have the radio call at TroyTrojans.com and on our Troy Sports Media Network. Then I'm having to drive it. I'm driving this to Fayetteville and back.
get back on Thursday, and then we're leaving out Friday for Troy football in Statesboro, Georgia, against Georgia Southern. That's a 3 o'clock start time, and that'll be on ESPN Plus. The women's the home stuff. Volleyball will close out the regular year at Trojan Arena against Appalachian State Thursday at 6 and Friday at 6. Volleyball team doing really well lately. All fans on Thursday are asked to participate in the whiteout. Lots of giveaways for the first 100 fans. And senior night is going to be Friday night at 6. Several of the volleyball seniors, including a young lady named Tori Hester, who's one of the best players I've ever seen. So all that's going on. Information available at TroyTrojans.com.
That's exactly right, man. You're going to be on the road a lot. You need some Red Bull at Stivers on Friday?
Hey, I will definitely. There have been days whenever we've had to do the show from Stivers where I haven't gotten any sleep. I'll at least have some sleep by then.
Yeah.
Jason, you're right. There will be Trojan Talk tonight. Jason Bennett chimes in. Trojan Talk tonight. We've got Jared Parker, the head football coach. We've got Shanda Rigby, women's basketball coach, and we've got athletics director Brent Jones tonight at 6 till 7 at Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Troy.
Beautiful. Awesome. All right, we're going to keep the next topic till tomorrow because it's relevant for tomorrow's show as well. Of course, tomorrow, Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com will join us. We'll also check in with Travis Ryer, Talking Tide with Ryer on YouTube. So enjoy it. Always looking forward to that. A lot more conversation. Always appreciate the chats. Always appreciate the emails. Make sure to check out yellowhammernews.com. There'll be a feature on Longshore and McKnight later this afternoon. You can check that out. And also all the other platforms that you can check out Yellowhammer News. Man, they are everywhere. I mean, Instagram, it's X, it's Facebook, it's everywhere. Check it out. Great local coverage for the state of Alabama and the world for that matter. News, lifestyle, sports. They got it all at yellowhammernews.com.
We are live again Tuesday morning, 7 to 9 with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.